Hi, PK, and we are at STEP Conference 2026. And look, I got an invite. Don't forget to bring your sunglasses. Seems to be you got the same invite.
Absolutely, I got my sunglasses.
I love your sunglasses.
Well,
I really love your sunglasses. So
thank
first
you
of all,
so
the
much.
shape.
I collect sunglasses. so-
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
How many
these
do
are
you
my
have?
These are my steampunk sunglasses, okay?
How
And
many do you have?
Probably 50.
50 different sunglasses.
I can have them in the car in the morning. I decide, this one. That's how it is.
No, I think living in Dubai, having sunglasses collection, I think that's what else can you imagine, right?
That's true.
What brings you to STEP?
Oh,
What a silly question.
I
huh?
have been in every step, including the first one. When
Really?
it was not a conference, in a small warehouse in El Sarkal. So I almost feel ownership to STEP because we've seen STEP grow and
Yeah.
we've been a part of it. Even today, I am actually contributing, being part of a few things here at STEP. And Ray has stood the test of time. After 14 years, it is a formidable conference.
Absolutely. So how many years have STEP been actually delivering value?
This is the 14th step.
The 14th year.
Yes, 1-4.
And so the question is, so what are you hosting? Are you speaking? Are you bringing people into your the conference? Say what brings you this year exactly? Like what's your little contribution?
Well, I see STEP as our community conference, literally. I've been a part of Dubai Internet City from the day Dubai Internet City started, So, you see this small, seed grow into something big is what STEP is for us. So we contribute in everything. We are a part of the community. We help the community. We also add on to speakers, try to help them, build more. STEP has now gone to San Francisco, so maybe help them there. In fact, for years, I used to do the pre-STEP party the night before. All the speakers would end up at my house.
Oh, that's
so
a fun
stuff like
part.
that. Yeah. So, and this year, as usual, I'm doing some panels, interviewing some people. I also started Angel Spark, which is the investor group. We are the most prolific angel investment group in the region. So we will actually be doing a live investment tomorrow. So we'll have 2 startups come pitch, and we'll tell them yes or no, give them a check, like literally a commitment on stage.
That sounds like an entertainment, right?
It is. And we do that at every possible stage, and on purpose to, actually encourage people that, you actually get money, and there's somebody who's actually writing checks. Now, it also encourages other people to think of investing in young, innovative people and take a risk on them. So the idea is, this is how ecosystems get built.
So I'll tell you that the reason I actually mentioned entertainment is because, this year I talk a lot about the attention economy. And attention economy, it hasn't been built like yesterday, right? It has been building, collecting around this sort of expression for a few years now. And it's been driven by, a lot of creators who are actually rethinking the way we understand marketing at the first place. And I chose the word of the year for 2026, and for me it is an entertainment. What is it for you, by the way? What's your word for 2026?
Storytelling.
Storytelling.
And my reason for saying that is I think creator as a word does not convey the whole, the effort that is needed in creating something which people like, which you're calling entertainment. So there has to be a level of interest, a level of people liking what they're reading has to be there. And when you look at it from that perspective, I think for years, for generations, it's not social media, it's far before that. It's like human beings have been remembered because of the stories that they told and wrote. So look at all the books, they're stories. It's a concept.
Yeah.
And then it's like documentation of your life, of your time has been done in the form of stories.
Do you think we lack or we're losing the skill of storytelling in the age of, automation and in the age of robotics, in the age of everything is filtered, everything is fake? Do you think
it's
we're
the other way
losing
around. I think it's the opposite. I think the avenues of storytelling have multiplied.
Right.
So now you and I are telling stories, in like if it was 20 years ago, probably we'll not get a chance. None of us would write a book. Nobody would take us to TV. There's such a narrow scenario where only a few people would reach, a medium which will allow them to tell their story their way. We used to have documentaries. Like, how many documentaries would be made? I remember I started the Indian Documentary Foundation. I was a documentary filmmaker.
Yeah.
The problem was that how many people will even get access to cameras to shoot, for that matter. Today, technology and this growth of, mobile phones and, everybody getting access to this, to social media or channels of their own,
Yeah.
how would you have these people who created these, 100 million follower channels exist in the past? So I think it's great. Opportunity has actually increased. What has also happened is that, your pathway to becoming a good storyteller
Yeah.
is also become lucrative. So people are actually making the effort to become good storytellers.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
either way, in that sense, I always believe that the opportunity is actually increased, not decreased. That is one. Second thing, of course, it's also increased noise. So the signal to noise ratio is pretty bad at this point of time. And the reason for that is, of course, everybody's shouting at the top of their voice. But guess what? People who tell stories nicely, better than others, are found out and people appreciate them like before.
So tell me, what do you think is the secret of a good story or a story that stands out in the noise?
Well, I think the biggest success story of a story is when people identify with it and they see themselves in it, or they see that this is possible, or they see that, oh, this is great. So anything from awe, surprise, satisfaction, vulnerability, reality, even tragedy, which is real, is what makes a successful story. And of course, it's the art of telling that story. The facts of the story remain the same, but two different people will tell them completely differently. Some of them would be elegant. There's also this aspect of language, of how artfully you put it forward. It's also the way you put it forward. Do you put it forward in a media which is very, evocative, like video or pictures?
Yeah.
Or better than, say, just words, or audio accompanied by that. So, all these mediums will make a difference. And now newer and newer mediums are coming in. So now you have people doing stories in VR, people
That's
doing
right.
stories
Yeah.
in
The visual part.
visual part. You can become, an actor or a contributor to a running story, for example. Those interactive things were not available before that. So I think storytelling is also going a step change.
For sure.
And that is happening. And the other thing which I see it, which is somewhere where storytelling was always looked at from an entertainment point of view, I think it's also a business point of view. Recently, World Economic Forum put a very interesting headline, and which says the most successful founders and CEOs of the world have to be good storytellers. Or the other way around, the successful storytellers, compared to their peers, are the people who tell the story better. The story of their company, story of what they build, story of their startup. How many startups do you know, but at the end of the day had minuscule revenue, but had a great story, which everybody was following?
I don't think startups have time to create their own stories, although it doesn't mean that they don't have those stories. That's my question, right? Actually, I was going to ask you, so how do you translate the storytelling into business? Because we can imagine and we can associate storytelling with like the actual creative writing or, people who are probably less connected to business, but how do we translate the art of storytelling into a business narrative? So do you see any tendency towards that?
I hear you, but I say the opposite, other way around. I say that some people are good storytellers because they are good storytellers, because they have it in them. So every class you went to school, there are certain people you remember because they spoke well. Those stories that they were telling. There are people who build startups. I've seen startup founders. They are better than other founders in that space just because they tell their story. Not a better story or a worse story, better. They just tell the story better. So my only thing is that we now have a word for it. Before that, he's a great founder, man.
Yeah.
He speaks well.
Yeah.
People say, you know what, let's get in there. He's a good speaker. This is what people say. Today I'm saying, we look at it deeply, you realize every founder or CEO of a large company even, they're known as storyteller. The guy comes on stage, he tells the story exceptionally well. The Apple story, everybody talks about how
one of the greatest
Steve
examples.
Jobs used to speak. His commencement speak at the university is still something people keep repeating all the time. Every few days I see it on my Twitter timeline passing by, correct? So it's actually how you convey. the message could be the same. It's not that the message would be different, message could be exactly the same. But what I'm saying is it's storytelling. And yes, you're right. There are people who can learn to be better storytellers. There are people who can learn new media so their story looks better.
Yep.
There'll be people who can actually get a team which helps them go over wider number of different mediums and actually convey their message. So all those things have become easier because of the advent of technology and new channels to distribute it over.
Absolutely, and I think so the requirement for being a good storyteller, not only for founders but for brands in general, if you think about it, has become a requirement at scale. So everybody is required to tell a story, to be entertaining and to be actually visible on all sorts of mediums nowadays. And I'm happy that we're actually starting, the series of interview for Step with such an important topic. But tell me, what is the topic of the panel or the stage that you're hosting today?
So today I'm actually hosting two exceptional founders. And the thesis that I have is that you can make formidable companies out of the UAE. When people talk about making companies here, you hear, people complaining about, it's a very small population, UAE is 10, 11 million people, it's a very small market, and then, we don't have this, we don't have that, it just goes up and down. And also the criticism of very fragmented regions, so you have to build multiple companies to go to every, so these kind of criticisms are there. I'm trying to say that you can focus on a country like UAE and still make a formidable company and then decide to go and win the rest of the world. So I'm giving two examples of companies which have done that, which are their major, in some cases the only market is the UAE. They are homegrown, like they literally, the people who founded it have been here for a long time or grew up here. Those people started the company here, focused and diligently built the company against all odds to become formidable companies with a very substantial top line, bottom line, and valuation. So when you look at those things, they actually prove a thesis. So we'll see Club, I'm sure you've seen them, the barcode in every restaurant you go to, or insurancemarket.ae, I'm sure you've seen Alfred talking to you. So if you look at those companies are both completely homegrown, built here, and substantially the market, or exclusively the market, is the UAE. Now, they have ambitions to grow global, all the best to them, but they're formidable here today.
So what do you think needs to happen to scale that process? Meaning to have more homegrown companies with ambitions and the potential to go globally?
I think it's happening already. Look around you. How many ambitious people do you see? All I'm trying to say is don't get caught in the complaints. Start building. When you start building, you'll find your success. So spend the time in building something rather than complaining or putting the ducks in a row. When everything aligns up, I'll do it. Then you'll never do it. So these people did not take no for an answer. I'm sure when we speak to them, we'll find there are 100 people who told them why they shouldn't do what they did, but they still did it and succeeded.
I get it. So I wish you best of luck with your panel today, and thank you very much, and a great conversation on storytelling as well. So
good speaking to you.
Thank you.
Take care.